Hi, uh, today is January 26, 2017, and this is a Swede Speaks. There has been a lot of ado in Sweden about an economist named Kjell A. Nordström, who has been speaking to, or well, entertaining maybe would be the right word, a bunch of business people. And Mr. Nordström claims that the future of Sweden lies in Stockholm. That within a few decades, Stockholm will be a city of 5 million people. Today, or I think maybe he said the Stockholm area. However, today there are 2 million people there. Sweden has 10 million inhabitants, just to give you a picture. And he went on to say that the rural areas of Sweden, and he exemplified with Värmland and Gotland, are trash areas. And he claims that, for instance, in Värmland, there is no economic activity. There are no universities. There is no entertainment. There is no shopping. There is nothing there. Just trees. And that's what he said. And I mean, even from personal experience, I lived in Värmland for 7 years. I moved there when I was 21, and I left when I was 28. And I moved there from one of the neighboring, or a city close to Stockholm, in the greater Stockholm area. I came there when I was 21. Actually, I came there to attend the university in Karlstad in Värmland. So, well, there is at least one university. And, well, yeah, you could discuss if it should have been a university, but it is. And like most universities in Sweden, most of what it teaches is stupid. But hey, that's not something specific for this area. That goes for all of Sweden, including Stockholm, maybe especially Stockholm. And his comments are just pure ignorance. If we take the culture first, or the entertainment, you have the Museum of Värmland, you have the Värmland Opera, and of course, there are cinemas, not only in Karlstad, but also in other towns in Värmland. And entertainment, well, yeah, you could rent movies. Well, if anyone does that anymore, I don't know. I never do that. And downtown Karlstad and other places in Värmland has as much culture as any suburb of Stockholm. On Karlstad has, of course, got more because it's a bigger city. Or, relatively said. And if we look at the economic activity, especially Värmland has the forest industry. There is also some farming. You have the trade commerce with all the Norwegians who come to Värmland because Värmland neighbors to Norway, and a lot of people living in the neighboring areas all the way to Oslo at least. And Oslo is 100 kilometers from the border. What would that be? A little more than 60 English miles. Come to the Värmland area because prices are lower in Sweden. And that trade is pretty high. I mean, if you go to any of these places by the border where they have these shopping malls, built by a Norwegian businessman, by the way, or, well, by his employees, you could see that there's a lot of financial or economic activity going on there. And this Mr. Nordström, he is sometimes called a professor. His real title is an associate professor. And he's not even employed by the Stockholm School of Business, Stockholm School of Economics, which sometimes is claimed, but he is not. What he makes money from is lecturing, or maybe you should call it that he entertains the rich with crazy ideas. And I have seen picture of how he dresses. He looks like an overgrown hipster. He's a guy in his 60s, dressed like he was 20-something, maybe. Why should we listen to this hipster economist, why should business people listen to him? They're not gonna make any money if they listen to this guy, because it seems like he sees Sweden outside of the Stockholm area as some kind of flyover country, a place where you never set your foot. You just fly over it when you fly west to New York, for instance, which is the favorite city of all the Swedish liberals. And by this I mean the left liberals. Or when they fly south to Thailand or Gambia or wherever they go, to Spain. Why should we listen to this guy? I mean, I'm not an economist. I have read some economy on my own, but I'm not an economist. But hey, you can use your common sense too. It seems to me sometimes that academics don't. I didn't say all now, I said some. Pay attention to what I say. Any economy, as far as I understand, needs real value. It needs resources. We cannot all live on services. Services is like the cream on top of the coffee. Someone has to make the coffee first. Or, I mean, even cream is a resource, so okay, bad example. But anyway, an economy needs resources. And okay, an entire nation could live out of services by trading with other countries. Sure. But that goes for smaller countries than Sweden, that have less resources. Sweden's got a lot of resources. For instance, Värmland. Värmland's got, especially the forest. There's nothing but trees. Hey, the trees is a resource. You stupid hipster. And farming is a resource. And other parts of Sweden where they are mining, that's a resource. And how many resources do you have in downtown Stockholm, in Södermalm, where all the left liberals, where a lot of the left liberals live? How many resources do you have there? How would you survive without getting the resources from the rest of the country? Let's say you couldn't import it from cheaper countries. Let's say there was a crisis, a war. How long would the hipsters survive then? The hipster economists. The ones who would survive would be the people in the so-called trash areas. This is a Sweet Speaks. Have a nice day and enjoy your meal.